So I don't know about you, but when that freaking ice dragon came at the wall at like Mach 3 and melted that thing like a hot knife through butter, I freaking lost my mind. But I was also kind of wondering how that was possible. Let's talk about it. What is up, YouTube? It's Josh. This is the Den of Nerds. Guys, if you're watching these videos on this here channel and you like that here Game of Thrones, subscribe to the channel. We're going to be doing Game of Thrones content in between Season 7 and Season 8. We're going to be collaborating, doing some theories, tons of stuff like that to hold you off during this long night. You see what I did there? It was kind of funny. But anyways, getting right into this video, the thing I really, walked away with, I guess, at the end of Season 7 was how freaking awesome that ice dragon is. If we want to even call it an ice dragon, some people are calling it an undead dragon, some people are calling it a white dragon, but it's really just a blue-eyed white dragon, you know what I mean? But whatever you want to call it, the new Viserion, right? The Viserion that the Night King rides. That thing was crazy. It seems to fly at like supersonic speeds. That blue flame seems incredibly awesome, but I had a lot of questions about what exactly is going on with Viserion, with the Night King. How does this connection even work? Like, what exactly is going on with this thing? So I basically want to talk about that. I'm going to break down a couple of my points, a couple of my theories, what I think is actually going on with this dragon. So I want to start with the questions. There's questions about the fire, right? So a couple of different things. First of all, if the gland that makes the dragons able to spurt fire, if that gland was damaged by the spear, then how is it even able to spout fire in general? On top of that, if this is an undead dragon, the fire should light the thing up. It should destroy it. But obviously that is not the case. On top of that, there are questions about its mental capacity. The dragon seemed to be moving in a way that would imply that its mind is intact. Now, that might seem a little weird to you, but trust me, brains are actually essential to complex movement. That is why most zombies move in very jarred, mechanical ways, because they have lost the full capacity and ability of their brain. So when the brain takes damage, it's really hard for things to move like that. So what exactly is going on here? Well, I think a lot of this can be cleared up if you look at what exactly happened when Viserion was changed. The Night King and his army pull Viserion out of this lake, but then what does he do? He goes over and he touches it, okay? He touches Viserion much like he did Craster's baby way back when. He literally touches it on the face, just like he did the baby, and then the eye comes up. I mean, think about it, guys. If he wanted to just raise Viserion from the dead, he could have just put his arms up like a G and had that thing, become the skeleton undead dragon and crawl its way out of the ice. So I almost want to say that it's possible that Viserion might have been alive. So what did we exactly see when Viserion went down? Well, he gets hit in the gland, is taking so much pain and losing so much blood that he probably lost consciousness, maybe went into shock, lost consciousness due to blood loss, and then barrels into the frozen lake. Now, if you know anything about really cold water, or if you've seen any dope science fiction movies, you know that freezing a body is a way to keep it alive. I mean, look at Batman and Robin. Mr. Freeze freezes his wife to keep her on ice until there's a cure. Constant movies with space travel put people into cryogenic sleep, which is essentially a way to freeze them and they don't age or take any ailments during that. So what I'm saying is, if Viserion is at the bottom of that lake and he passed out when he went in, it's very possible that he wasn't dead. Now you might say, oh, but he was drowning. Well, we don't really know that. We don't really know how long a dragon can hold its breath. We saw them swimming and going under the water with Dany when they were much younger. It's possible that they breathe differently than you and I do and can act more like a whale when they're under that water. So if Viserion was alive and the Night King touches his face, then I think we have an explanation for exactly what is going on here. I think that all of the properties of Viserion are still intact. He still has a mind, but he has been tainted and affected by the magic of the Night King. So this is why the fire doesn't hurt him. This is why he's able to move like that and fly at super speeds. But it also could lead us to some very, very interesting places. Does this mean that Viserion will be able to have some kind of a contact and recollection of Dany? Does this mean he'll be able to recognize his brothers? Wow, this actually could be really, really crazy. And I think that that is something the show writers will want to play with. I don't think it makes much sense for Viserion to just be an undead dragon. I think the fire would have melted him. I think he would be more or less, not useless, but he would be like the rest of the army, just zonking around, not really doing much. So I think that is what we're going to have happen here. And that is pretty scary to think about. I mean, what if the other dragons won't even go fight him? You know what I mean? Like, it's a potential here because dragons are already magical creatures, that if this is a turned magical imbued dragon, that it's capable of stuff that the other dragons aren't even capable of. So, wow. I think at the end of the day, what this really, really leads into is something that Tyrion said in the last episode, and that is that they are fucked. And I don't see a way around it. I think that the Viserion white dragon, maybe ice dragon, whatever you want to call him, is part of the Night King's end game. He's not just undead, and he is ready for action. So that is what I am thinking, but you guys, let me know what you think about this in the comments section. Do you think that the dragon is undead? Do you think it is turned? I mean, come on, I put some pretty compelling evidence forward. So let me know what you think in the comments section. Always willing to have a conversation about Game of Thrones with you guys. As I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and nerdy day. See ya!